Hey, what's poppin', guys? Sizzle here, and today we're taking a look at the eSports Winter 2013 case. First things first, we have the PP Bison Water Sigil. One kind of unfortunate thing about this skin is it seems to be pretty dark. Like, it doesn't use lighting very well, but that's kind of to be expected with an old-ass 2013 skin. And there's a bit of scratches on it, but not really that much for a lower factor new older skin. And the design is definitely very unique. It's kind of like some waves kind of flowing across the skin with these, I don't know what these symbols are supposed to be. I guess those are what sigils are, so these would be sigils, I guess. Kind of flowing along in the water. I'm assuming it's pattern based too, and that different patterns will have different things like that. Might not actually be true with how old the skin is. But if that's the case, then it's a pretty solid skin. And it does use the whole Bison. It uses the bottom, the front, and even the handle. The exception being the back for some reason, but it uses a majority of the skin, and it looks pretty solid. So for that one, I'll definitely give the Bison a solid C tier placement. And next up, we have the 5-7 Nightshade. And, yet again, a pretty unique skin. I've never seen this in game before. And I actually kind of like how it looks. I mean, the bottom of the skin is very basic, just a light kind of navy blue kind of look. But the top is very unique. It has some kind of glowing vines just on the top. I mean, they're not actually glowing, because I know you can kind of make stuff glow now with the kind of modern skin creating methods or whatever. Um, but they have like the appearance that they're glowing red. The front looks beautiful. It's like a flower kind of blooming around the front, and it just looks nice. I mean, there's like flowers and whatever, and the red around the white really just makes it feel like it's glowing. The one kind of bad thing is it, yet again, somewhat mediocre in lighting, but I think the design's really unique, and it actually looks really solid. I'm surprised I don't see this that often. It's probably just expensive, though. Anyway, next up is the Nova Ghost Camo, and it's a camo skin. I've given my opinion about camo skins a million times. Some people like them, I personally don't, so for me, pretty much every normal camo skin is a D tier. Unless, for whatever reason, I really like how it looks, which is pretty rare, but there are some camos that do that. And next up is the G3SG1 Azure Zebra. And yeah, it's zebra stripes, but colored blue, and I guess Azure is like a colored blue or something. Pretty dark blue, and it looks completely horrible in lighting. I mean, look at like this. This looks like plastic almost. And the mag in some parts of the gun are still stock, so it doesn't go as well. I definitely can't say it's too bad. I mean, it's just a solid dark blue recoloring of a G3. So for me, it's actually still a D tier. I do think it's better than stock, and I can see why some people might want to use it. And next up is the P250 Steel Disruption. And yeah, it's just the, I'm forgetting, I'm blanking right now on what they're called. Oh, DD-Pat. It's like the DD-Pat design, um, except it glows, which is really cool. I actually like how this works in the lighting. Unfortunately, you'll probably never get this kind of glow effect in game. But if you get something like this, it'll look really cool if you can make it kind of go on and off the way that this does. I like how it actually shines quite a lot, despite the skin itself being kind of uninspired. But I'll put it in the bottom of C's here. I do like how that kind of glows. And next up is the Galil AR Blue Titanium. And yeah, it's like 90% stock with a slight bit of blue titanium. If, that's what the skin is. The lighting at least works kind of nice. I do like kind of the sheen it has to it. I'm surprised we don't see this in more skins nowadays because I do really like how the lighting works here. Um, but yeah, it's really not much better than stock. I would just say it's an F tier skin that really doesn't add a lot to the weapon. So I would just stick to stock. Then next up we have the P90 Blind Spot. Um, Yeah, it's a camo skin. At least there's some brighter colors, I guess, but it really just is a camo skin. And I've already explained, I'm not a fan of camo skins. But brighter camos tend to do better than darker camos unless the colors are really bad. So yeah, low D tier. Then we have the AK47 Blue Blue Laminate, whatever you want to go with. It's like a 90% stock AK with some slight blue wood finish on the wood. I honestly prefer the stock wood to the blue wood here. So for me, I would say stick to stock, but I do know there are some people that like this. I just want to put it out there. I'm just not one of them. I prefer the original quite heavily. So yeah, it's an F tier skin for me. It's at least better than the Galil for being kind of a better looking skin. I'll give it that. I just think stock looks better, so yeah. Next up we have the Famas Afterimage, which is interesting to say the least. Very extremely bright skin to the point that lighting doesn't even affect parts of it because it's that bright. Um, but it is unfortunate that it's an older skin because, as you can see, despite this being fact new or just right under fact new, it is scratched to fucking oblivion, which would make this kind of hard to look at a lot of time in game. I really don't like how old the older from us is, and even some of the new ones have this just intense tearing. I mean, the top is like barely even there anymore. Um, but yeah, I kind of do like the way this like hair light blue like fiber cable, whatever you want to call it, whatever these like lines are, I do like the look of those, and I think if this was a clean skin without any scratches, it would easily be C tier if not B tier, because it has a lot going for it. A nice dark blue background, a very kind of nice looking design, very unique design too. Um, but I can't really put it higher than D tier with how scratched up all of these will be. I mean, this is a fact new one pretty much. It's not going to get much better. So for me, unfortunately, that's going to have to go in the D tier. Then next up, we have the AWP Electric Hive. And yeah, very, very well-known skin for the fact that, I mean, it has orange, pink, purple, and blue, but you can get full orange, full purple, or full blue like AWPs, and a lot of people like that type of stuff. A very pattern-based skin with a very solid design. I mean, just colored hexagons, like almost like a fade look to it. Just look kind of solid, and it even gets a colored tip, which is kind of nice. The one thing I will say is it doesn't affect the scope or barrel in any way, which for me kind of pulls it down quite a bit. But this is a classic skin. I mean, it's one of the more like skins, and I can kind of see why. It's a very simple but good design. So for me, that's gonna have to go in the B tier. I think if it had somehow used the whole skin, although I think hexagons on the whole skin would look ugly. So if it somehow found a way to use the whole skin, it'd easily be either an A or S tier. It has a very solid base design. Then we have the Desert Eagle Cobalt Disruption, and it's a light or dark blue, whatever you want to call it. I think it's both. I mean, it's light and dark blue, kind of DD pat. Kind of the same way in the way the metallic disruption works, except for some reason the light parts show up in any lighting and not only when you go over it. So this kind of just has a lesser effect. If it worked like the metal one did, where you couldn't even see these parts unless you were in the right lighting, I think this would easily actually be a B tier for me because I like this color of blue. But even without that, it's definitely a solid skin. I can't really hate on it despite generally not liking the DD-Pat design. The way the lighting works on this is just really too cool. So for me, it's going to be a solid C tier, definitely still above the P250, and I'll put it above the PP Bison as well. Then our final skin is the M4A4 XRay. I'm not sure why this one has some 2016 stickers on it. But yeah, it's like an X-ray of the M4A4. You can see like all the bullets and some other stuff. Not really actually. All you can see is really the spring in the back and some bullets. Unlike the AK X-ray, which I feel like showed a bit more or less. I don't really know. But honestly, from a distance and even up close, this kind of just looks like a white can't like a white skin with black on all the ridges or whatever. Definitely not like a print stream or anything, but just from a distance, like a dirty white. It's kind of like what you'd expect to see like in like snow in a parking lot or something. It doesn't look horrible, but it definitely doesn't look great. It's just a kind of mediocre M4 skin. So for me, that's also a C tier, probably below the Deagle. And yeah, that's it for the esports winter 2013 case. I hope you guys enjoyed looking at these skins as much as I did, and I will see you in the next one.